Video games will come and go, but some games stay memorable forever, not only for its gameplay but also the storyline. Hey folks, it's Jasper and today on Joker's Den, top 10 amazing story-based games for mobile devices. And it's part 2, so you can check out the previous part where I talked about these games. Anyway, subscribe to this channel with all notifications on and let's jump into it. Starting off with number 10, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. It's a portable adaptation of the great Final Fantasy 15 available for consoles and PC. The Pocket Edition has a similar game experience and story but with an anime aesthetic and gameplay perfectly adapted to touchscreen devices. The main story and the fundamentals of game's combat are reproduced here, save a few minor narrative beats and some of the fancier gameplay flourishes like link attacks. But regardless, it's still the story of the varying combat of WrestleMania, Niflheim and Altasia. Final Fantasy fans will understand the story easily where the game shows as a symbol of peace and some wedding stuff. For that, the prince sets forth for his wedding on the eve of the signing ceremony sent off by his father. However, the journey ahead is fraught with perils. The story of Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition is divided into 10 chapters and you can play the first chapter for free. But of course, if you want to find out what happens in the other 9 chapters, you will have to purchase them through the app itself. Next over at number 9, Forgotten Memories. It's the first in a series of survival horror games coming from Canadian developer. It is heavily inspired by classic creepfest like Silent Hill, Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark and takes the player into archetype fearful setting of an abandoned psychiatric hospital. Taking on the role of investigator Ross Hawkins, you are searching for a missing girl and your search has led you in mysterious circumstances to the old asylum. So you set about exploring the dilapidated building in pitch darkness but for your flashlight. And from the outside, the game wages psychological warfare against you with the pervasive threat of the unknown around every corner. So, if you like horror games, then you should give it a try and more crazy games are coming, so before moving on, drop a like on this video right now. On number 8, Bracelet. It's an adventure game set in northern Norway which offers a unique coming-of-age story about love, loss, friendship and family. The game story holding around a magical bracelet with mysterious powers. Bracelet is a puzzle adventure game with a gripping story and gentle, satisfying puzzles, exploration and a beautiful orchestral soundtrack. You play as Jesper, a Norwegian teenager who lives with his mom in the city, and one day he is handed an old bracelet by his grandfather, and this bracelet has powers like strange, mysterious powers. So Jesper is given the task to unravel the mystery behind the bracelet. Where does it come from? Who does it belong to? And why did his grandfather leave the island and his old life behind? You will find the answers in the game. And on number 7, Lone Wolf. It's a first-person shooter where you play as Lone Wolf, a mysterious assassin who works for an organized crime ring. Unlike other games in this genre, in Lone Wolf, the story plays a major part in the game. There are more than 30 missions in Lone Wolf, though they are all pretty short and usually have very straightforward objectives. Normally you have to kill 1 or 2 targets, but sometimes you also have to meet other requirements to complete the mission. Overall, it's a different kind of first-person shooter featuring a gameplay that's well adapted to touch screens as well as great graphics. As for the game's story, when you consider the stories behind other games of this type, Lone Wolf is a breath of fresh air. Now moving on to number 6, Storm Boy. This one is an amazing open-world adventure game. Based on the book of the same name by Colin Tilley, the game takes place on the beaches of South Australia near the mouth of the Murray River, where the protagonist rescues orphaned chicks, one of which later becomes the child's pet. So, you will experience an interactive retelling of the classic story by taking control of both Storm Boy and Mr. Percival in critical moments such as when sailors are trapped in a storm. So, you will enjoy beachside activities on a variety of fun and relaxing minigames, including sand rowing, sailing, hunting, playing, and more. So if you want to experience an exciting, relaxing open world, then give it a shot. Down to number 5, Father and Son. It's a 2D graphic adventure that tells the story of a son and his deceased father. Sadly, the son never really had a connection with the father because the father dedicated his entire life to his job at the National Archaeological Museum of Naples. So, after the father's death, the son decides to try to get to know the father through his work. The son's actions are pretty varied, like from sitting down and having a coffee to talking to another person or even drawing. So, once you have arrived at the museum with the son, you can travel in time and for a few seconds become an ancient Egyptian. This feature helps you get to know the past and also witness the connection between the father and son. Overall, it's a beautiful adventure, the visuals are truly amazing, and it also has a beautiful story that unfolds before your eyes. On number 4, Old Man's Journey. This is an arcade adventure game with a beautiful story about life, hope, and failure. The game opens with the image of an old man standing on the porch looking out at the sea. While chilling in a private vault, the postman came to give him an urgent letter that made him think and then prepare for an urgent trip. So the game doesn't offer any dialogue or text, but the entire journey of the old man will depend on the player's own decision. To learn more about the interesting elements that make the game unique, I think you should try to buy the game and experience by yourself. You can also try the demo version before you buy, so both are available in the Play Store. And before moving on, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and share this video. Now on the third number of the list, Hizo. It's a fun puzzle adventure game with a western stealth style. Here, players will transform into Hizo, a 6-year-old boy, to experience a journey to find his lost mother. The game tells the story of a mother and her son, Hizo, who were attacked by a group of bandits, and these bandits razed her family's farm. So, the mother decided to take her son to a monastery to protect him. However, the boy decided to run away and set off an endless adventure. So, you play as Hizo, a 6-year-old, using your toys to distract your opponents while you try and go past them by using shadows to your advantage in puzzle action. The game is available on iOS and Android and includes full controller support. So, what's your favorite story-based game? Let me know in the comment section. And on number 2, the Mosaic. In this game, you play as an ordinary man living an ordinary life in which nothing seems to happen. You have no partner, no friends, no one. You wake up to go to work to then go back to bed. You are isolated from a cold, dark world while still being part of it. But all this changes one day as different things start to occur. Butterflies, musicians, and talking fish appear out of nowhere to help you understand that what you are doing is not living. Mosaic is not a scary game, but its environment is a little bit scary. Everything seems cold and dark, and sometimes it gets too dark, so it's hard to see what's going on or where you are. Still, everything in the game, from the music to the atmosphere, gives you a creepy feeling that sometimes scary might happen. Okay, the game takes place in the span of a few days, and every day is basically the same. You wake up, check your phone, get ready for work, and start your commute. However, more than a game, Mosaic is an experience that showcases the real problem that is modern isolation. Throughout the game, you are mostly invisible. In your job, you are nothing but a number on a server. In your life, people literally avoid you. They don't make eye contact and they'll literally walk away from you. So I think the developer does a great job of making you feel the fear of loneliness while being surrounded by thousands of people. So the game lets you live a monotonous life in a cold city with no real sense of meaning until one crucial day when strange things start to happen and everything changes. So Mosaic is an atmospheric adventure game that might change your perspective on life. Finally, on the top of the list, Forgotten Annie. Imagine a place where all that is lost and forgotten goes. Old toys, letters, shocks. The Forgotten Lands is a musical world inhabited by forgottenlings, living mislaid objects longing to be remembered. Forgotten Annie is a seamless cinematic adventure with meaningful storyline and light puzzle platforming. You are Annie, the enforcer who keeps order in the Forgotten Lands, as she sets out to squash a rebellion that might prevent her master and herself from returning to the human world. The game is stunning. The way Annie moves, the detailed environments, and the warm glow of lantern light all makes you feel as though you are playing a hand-drawn movie. Rich colors also fill the world, often blues and greens that lend a kind of underwater dreaminess to the entire affair. Sometimes Forgotten Annie feels like it could just have been a movie, but I'm glad it's a game. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. You can also watch Best Games of January 2023. Alright then, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe this channel with all notifications on. So we'll catch up in the next one. Till then, happy gaming!